MLB Network continues their Top 10 Right Now series, looking at the top 10 right fielders in the game. I'm going to bring you my list, but let me know yours down in the comment section below. Let's get into it. And we begin at number 10 with Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Abreu was still classified as a rookie in the 2024 campaign, but he had a breakout season that definitely did not feel like this was a rookie in progress. When you look at the season that he had, yes, there are some areas to still mature in, but this was a Gold Glove caliber defender for the Boston Red Sox and someone that they can start to build this franchise around. Going younger for Boston is going to be something that they absolutely needed to do, and they were started in the right direction. I really love the way that this player goes about his game and really is improving day in and day out. Looking ahead to the 2025 season for the Red Sox right fielder, there's no doubt about it that this is a guy they are going to love to build around. Being able to be a solid presence for that Boston Red Sox order, as well as what he does defensively, is going to be something that Red Sox fans have a lot to love for in 2025 when it comes to Wilyer Abreu. Now coming in at number 9 on my list, it is the Los Angeles Dodgers, Teoscar Hernandez. When you look at what Theo is able to do, this is a guy who is a featured premier power bat in the middle of that lineup. While defensively, he's not going to be your excellent right fielder, what he provides the Dodgers with offensively more than makes up the difference. I think that when you look at what he is in that Dodgers lineup, as talented as Teoscar is, this is a guy who's going to hit lower in that order. And being able to have that level of bat in that 5, maybe 6 or 7 spot of that order is going to be something that really gives the Dodgers a tremendous amount of length in that lineup. His ability to be able to put the bat on the ball but also hit for extreme power is something that the Dodgers have benefited from last season. And going into this new campaign in 2025, the Dodgers lineup is going to look even more formidable. And Teoscar Hernandez coming back to LA is one of the reasons why it looks so dominant. I think that when you look at what he is going to be for the Dodgers in this 2025 season, it's very easy to see why he makes the top 10 list. Now as we get into number 8 on my list, it is Corbin Carrol of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now Corbin is coming off of a down season in 2024 compared to his rookie campaign in 23. But I think that when you look at what this player's skill set is, there's no doubt about it, he is going to bounce back, in my opinion, in a big way in 2025. I think that for the Diamondbacks, they really struggled to get their whole team in gear after the World Series hangover of 2023. But when you look at what Corbin Carrol is able to do, his speed does not take a day off. And in doing that and being able to bounce back in that way, I think that he provides himself with the ability to get back into the upper echelon of the right fielders in the game. When you look at what he has in terms of that skill set, being able to pair speed and power, and that combination is something that you absolutely love to have in this game. And when you have it in a young player like Corbin Carrol, it absolutely leaves the Diamondbacks feeling like they have the future ahead of them. Corbin Carrol is going to be a guy who, in my opinion, bounces back in a big way and really cements himself as one of the better right fielders in the game in 2025, and that's why he makes my list. Now, as we get to number 7 on my list, this is where I take my little wild card pick here with the Athletics' Lawrence Butler. I think when you look at what this player was capable of doing in just 125 games last year, putting up a 3-WAR season, the sky is the limit. His combination of power and presence at the plate, to me, is something that the Athletics are truly going to benefit from. And while the A's are not a team that is likely to do a whole lot when it comes to extending this player, at least not at this moment, being able to maximize his years that he has now on that roster is going to be on full display. We have seen tremendous outfielders come from that A's franchise, and there's no doubt about it to me that Lawrence Butler is the next guy on that list. I foresee a huge season from Butler in 2025, especially we don't know how that ballpark is going to play in Sacramento. But without question, Butler is going to be a guy who is not going to be phased no matter what the dimensions of the ballpark dictate. To me, Lawrence Butler is going to be a guy who is sneaky candidate for one of the best players in Major League Baseball in the 2025 season. I tremendously believe in this player, and I think that going into the 2025 campaign, the A's are really going to feature him prominently and heavily in the middle of that order. Going into this season, Lawrence Butler may be a sleeper pick on this list, or maybe you say it's an absolutely ridiculously high expectations for a guy who just played 125 games in 2024, but to me, the skill set is there to really have him be one of the best right fielders in the game in 2025, and that's why I put him in on this list. Now, coming in at number 6 on my list is a player who is currently a free agent at the time of this recording, and it is Anthony Santander. Looking at what this outfielder is capable of, is absolutely surprising to me that he has not landed on a deal so far. When you look at what this switch hitter does for a team, looking at his 2024 stats for the Baltimore Orioles, a 44 season from a switch hitter, and is a big time asset. And for me, looking at what he is capable of providing any team across Major League Baseball, especially given the context of maybe a potential 1-year deal, this is a guy you absolutely have to scoop up. What he provides offensively for a team is one of the biggest assets in the middle of your order. The power ability of Anthony Santander is something that very few players right now in the game are rivaling when it comes to a 40 home run type of season. Given his ability, there's a huge surprise to me that he has not already signed a deal. But when you look at what he is going to be capable of, no matter where he lands in 2025, this is going to be a guy who now is going to go out there to try and prove himself in a big way. Even bigger than his walk season with the Baltimore Orioles of 44 home runs, there's little question that Anthony Santander is going to be a meaningful and impactful player for whatever team he lands on. Going into the 2025 season, having a guy with his power potential, as well as being a switch hitter, so he's never neutralized no matter who is on the mound, this is a guy who is a big-time asset for any team in Major League Baseball. And for me, going into this season, he's one of the best right fielders in the game. Obviously, there's going to be some questions in terms of what his defensive capabilities are, but if he is able to provide close to league average defense, or maybe even better, there's little question that his offensive capabilities has him in the top 10 right fielders in the game. Now, as we get into the top 5 right fielders in the game today, we begin at number 5 with Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, it may seem blasphemous because I absolutely love Tati, but when you look at what he is capable of compared to the other guys on this list, it is a stacked top half of the right field list. And when you look at what Fernando is, offensively, he's come down since that PED suspension. But when you look at what his transition from shortstop out to the outfield, it has been nothing less than amazing. Being a platinum level defender in right field in your first season as an outfielder just shows the talent and the capabilities of this player. Going into the 2025 season, I think that offensively we see him bounce back closer to that MVP caliber form that we have seen from him in the past. If Fernando Tatis Jr. is capable of combining that excellent, tremendous platinum level defense with a higher offensive ceiling, there's very little question that he can skyrocket even past being top 5. Now, as we get into the number 4 player on my list, it is Kyle Tucker, now of the Chicago Cubs. When you look at the new Cubs right fielder, there's no doubt about it, Kyle Tucker is one of the best players in Major League Baseball. When healthy, this is a guy who is capable of hitting you 30 home runs in a season while being a plus runner and an even better defender. There's no doubt about it, he's going into a new situation now after having been traded from the only organization that he's known professionally in the Houston Astros over to the north side of Chicago. And figuring out how to play the win there at Wrigley Field is going to be an interesting transition. But I do believe in Tucker's ability to be able to figure it out and figure it out quickly. I think that when you look at what Kyle Tucker can be for the Chicago Cubs, this can be a staple and an impact bat in the middle of that order. Obviously, Chicago is going to want to use this year as a platform year to be able to just show off everything the organization has to offer to one of the best and most talented players in the game today. Try to sign him long term and not have to deal with free agency. Having Kyle Tucker in the Wrigley apparel is going to be something that is a beautiful sight to see, and even more beautiful will be what he does on the field for the Cubs. And there's no doubt about it, watching what he does on a nightly basis is something that Cubs fans have to look forward to in 2025. Now, as we get into the top three, we are in the rare air, and we begin at number 3 with the new right fielder of the New York Mets, Juan Soto. There's little question that the generational Juan is one of the greatest hitters we have ever seen in the game in Major League Baseball. Juan Soto, as I've said many times on this channel, is this generation's Ted Williams. His plate vision at the dish is without question the best in the game. A minute hair off the plate, and he's taking that pitch and devastating pitchers' egos with the Soto shuffle. There's little question that the $800 million deal that he signed with the New York Mets is going to be a lofty goal to live up to. But when you look at what he does offensively, this is a guy who has all the makings to be able to do just that. Now, the biggest knock and why he finishes 3rd on my list, and arguably could drop lower, is because of his defensive inabilities. There's no doubt that the Yankees were able to kind of mask that with the short right field porch in 2024, which is why he was a finalist in the Gold Glove discussion. But when you actually look at the numbers and you break that down, defensively, Juan Soto is a liability, and ultimately, in my opinion, will likely land at a DH spot over the next few seasons. But when you look at the 2025 campaign, this is still a 26-year-old phenom and a guy who's going to be able to provide the Mets with a level of plate discipline that they have not seen for quite some time in that organization. I also think that what he does offensively more than makes up for his inefficiencies as a defender. Now, in that crazy right field in Citi Field is going to be something that is going to be an adventure for sure on a nightly basis for Mets fans. But what he's going to do at the plate is going to more than make up for it, and that's why he finishes 3rd on my list. Now, as we get into the number 2 player, it is Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. Now, yes, Ronald is likely not going to start the season with the Braves, but come on shortly thereafter. Looking at what this player is capable of, just 2 seasons ago, we saw him have a 40-70 season with 40 plus home runs and 70 plus steals. There's very little question that when healthy, this is one of the best players, regardless of position, in Major League Baseball. Ronald Acuna Jr. has the abilities as what you look for in the prototypical baseball player, all 5 tools. There's little doubt that he has the makings to be arguably one of the best players of all time if he can maintain being healthy. Now, obviously, we've seen him go through some injury struggles, and that hindered him and hampered him in 2024. Getting into the 2025 campaign, again, a slow start and likely not beginning the season with the Braves may knock him down on other lists. But for me, looking at what he is capable of, looking at the skill set, this is without question one of the top 2 players at this position going into the 2025 season, even if we don't see him start till May. A healthy Ronald Acuna Jr., again, has the capabilities of doing things we had never ever seen in the game before. There's only one member of the 40-70 club, and his name is Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, it is my honor and my pleasure to bring you the number 1 right fielder in the game, and it is Aaron Judge. The presiding heir apparent to this position is without question the best hitter in baseball right now. Looking at what he is capable of on a yearly basis, the power profile is next level. We have not seen production like we saw from Aaron Judge over these past 3 seasons since Barry Bonds at the height of his power peak with the San Francisco Giants. Going into this 2025 season, another huge year is expected out of Aaron Judge. As Judge goes, so do the New York Yankees. And a healthy Aaron Judge has been providing the Yankees with absolutely historic levels of offense over the last 3 seasons. Going into this 2025 campaign, even more is going to be expected of the Yankee right fielder now that he is shifting back to right field with the departure of Juan Soto. To me, Judge profiles much better defensively as a right fielder than he did in center field. But the selflessness of this player, he was able to move himself to center field to be able to provide that space for Juan Soto, to be able to help the Yankees kind of mask that inefficiency that we spoke about earlier for Soto. Judge was not the greatest center fielder. He was league average. But obviously, moving him back to right field where he's been a positive defender is a tremendous boost for the Yankees. Given what he does offensively, there's little question that this, to me, is the best player in baseball right now. If he can replicate a similar season in a 2025 to what we saw in 2024, or even getting greedy in what we saw in 2022, there's no question that Aaron Judge will solidify his spot atop this list. But again, I want to hear from you baseball fans. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings down in the comment section below on my top 10 right fielders in the game. Let me know who you believe are the top 10 right fielders right now heading into the 2025 season. Make sure you keep it locked in to this YouTube channel, as hitting that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications is the best way to keep it locked in. We have a ton of new content coming for you this year and some big surprises that are in store shortly, so you don't want to miss out. Make sure you find me over on our social media outlets, on X at banter_baseball. You can find me everywhere else at Baseball Banter Broadcast, where we can keep the baseball conversation rolling all year long. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.